Hey, Joe.
How you doing?
Good. I like your shirt.
I've been wearing this for like weeks now. The same
Really?
thing over and over. Don't go outside. Well, to be honest, I'm kind of like that pre-quarantine, working at home.
You're one of the current Garbage Pail Kids artists. So there's like four of you.
Yeah, currently there's four bass card artists that work on the Garbage Pail Kids, and yeah, we've been doing it for quite a while now.
And you've been doing it since 2009.
That's right. Yes, I started my first Garbage Pail Kid in 2009, so it's been over 10 years now.
So I do have a bunch of questions for you.
Yeah.
So let's see. Well, okay. So first of all,
I don't know if we're like close in age or not, but when do you remember discovering Garbage Pail Kids?
Did collect them and start noticing them pretty much when they came out in 1985. It was probably around 1986 when I really started noticing them. Pretty much was aware of them, how most kids were aware of them at the time in
Mhm.
school,
Right.
on the playground, actually in a school bus. But it wasn't really forming in my mind how big this was until it's like, you get out of school and then the next door neighbor kid has them. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
what, you got them too? And then you go to the local 7-Eleven, or if my dad had taken the car to the gas station, and I go in there and they're there for sale, and in every little mom and pop shop, dime store, they're there. You couldn't get away from them. So that's when I started recognizing how big they were. Like I said, as probably most kids in that age category of like 8, 9, 10 years old in 1985, 86. Yeah, they swept the nation. And to me, I always thought, and most people think that it's like the very first form of a viral uh, thing that just was sweeping up the country before any kind of obviously internet, but there's no commercials for it on television. There's no magazine articles advertising this. Pure word of mouth from schoolyard to schoolyard across the country, and then ultimately they were licensing around the world at that time.
I never thought about that, but yeah, there was no advertising. It was just like
No,
they
I
just
don't think so.
spread.
It's yeah. That to me, I always like. I don't know if something like that could even happen now. I mean, you
Mhm.
got to have a marketing plan, and
Right.
uh, but and the second thing that always and I didn't even really recognize until later in my years when I even started working and doing the Garbage Pail Kids, recognizing the artists that actually created it. The writers and cartoonists were underground comic book artists. Yes,
Mhm.
they worked for Tops, but these were guys that were hired that were together
Mhm.
formulating these ideas. And I just want to name them: Tom Bunk and John Pound were the artists in the beginning. Jay Lynch, and then you got Art Spiegelman and Mark Newgarden, kind of like the creators and writers of the thing. And that's where they all came from, and they built a career off of that, but also had a history before that and after that. So that's what I loved about it. It wasn't some manufactured. It was more art created, art centric and cartoonist created than corporate,
Mhm.
made.
Yeah, which makes it feel a lot more kind of underground.
It grew, and then quickly, well, in 3 or 4 years, before right at the end of '89, before the '90s hit, just like gone. They
Mhm.
just they rode that wave, and came out series after series up to 15 series they did. But it's on this weird surge of now kind of growing. Not only is it it's actually in the underground, but growing to mainstream levels with the licensing that's been going on.
Mm.
And the licensing that's coming out are things like the Monopoly board game that's
Right.
about to come out in a couple of weeks. R.L. Stine, author of the Goosebumps series, the second largest children's author in the world, is writing a Garbage Pail Kid book,
Right.
and that'll be out in the fall. And he's got a series of them he's doing. He's signed on for a series. So, and those books will be in school libraries. It's like they were taking the Garbage Pail Kids out of schools in the '80s, and now they're showing that they're actually producing, putting them back in the year 2020. So it'll be exciting. That's where I'm at. Where when I do these things, I'm excited to see, and there's that like kind of goal to hit that mainstream again.
And I have to say, I saw a photo of the cover that you did.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
It was like the coolest thing. I mean, because that's like it refers to Atom Bomb, but it's like him, R.L. Slime, just the explosion of the slime. I mean, it was so good.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, that's the thing. When I do these Garbage Pail Kids, and I knew this one had to be something that was really pop, had to pop and be eye catching for kids to just go off the page, but also to get the generation that grew up with it, the diehards. Hopefully
Mhm.
that they can still connect with it. And I wanted to also capture. I'm nowhere near as talented as the Goosebumps artist, Tim Jacobus. He used a lot of cool airbrush and really great twisted angles and all those Goosebump covers.
Oh yeah.
So kind of wanted to make that little connection there.
You've designed like 500 cards yourself. Can can you remember all of them?
No way, not at all. I definitely can't remember all of them. Some of my favorites were ones that I've done for either shows or bands that I've liked. Misfits. I'm a huge fan of the Misfits. I got to work with them, do posters for them. And then I got to do a Garbage Pail Kid of them. Guar is a band I worked with, and I got to do Garbage Pail Kids of the band Guar.
Okay, so as I kind of take on this flipbook thing, do you have any tips or advice for me as I'm trying to draw in the style of Garbage Pail Kids?
Oh man, I just say look at the cards, have the card in front of you, or go on Google and check out the images. It's a tricky thing. It's I don't want to say like, oh, Garbage Pail Kids are so hard to do, because then it's making us seem like, oh, we're that important. But because a lot of people are doing Garbage Pail Kids, like you see awesome fan art, an awesome. There's this whole sketch card thing. I don't even know if you know the world of sketch cards. It's in all the trading card industry. These trading card companies will hire out various artists to do stacks and stacks of blank cards and physically draw on these blank cards, hundreds of them.
Mm-hmm.
The company, and they're called sketch cards because they're original sketch cards, and they're all dumped and packed, placed into packs of cards.
Right.
You buy a pack. That's the way to get kids to buy cards now. It's like, oh, not only do you get cards, but you get an original piece of artwork.
Right.
There's a lot of awesome work happening in the sketch card world to do Garbage Pail Kids, and you can experiment and do whatever any kind of thing you want. But when I try to do something that's of brand or for an official license or the card, I try to go as best on model as I can, meaning what John Brown painted or Tom Bunk painted back in the day. James Warhol, actually, another original artist from the 80s, who's Andy Warhol's nephew of all things. But yeah, so I try to follow those guys, those original guys. There is a strange shape to the heads, the cheeks, the little dimple, and so I would just say, kind of definitely just use those as reference, those original cards. Adam Baum is a good.
I was thinking Adam Baum, maybe kind of model his face, and
you can even have him bald, because a lot of the kids, maybe just have one whisker, two whiskers of hair popping out of his head, and that's it. And just follow that as the mold and go from there. Just have fun with it, as they all say.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite card?
It changes from time to time. Like I mentioned the Misfits one, and a lot of the horror ones. We did a whole horror set. 80s, we did an 80s theme set. So, I got to do Perfect Strangers as a Garbage Pail Kid. He-Man, or...
I saw the He-Man one. I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, so it changes from time to time. I would say I would probably pin it down to more of like my favorite paintings are the Monopoly, the Arnstein cover, FYE banner that I got to do, the cereal box. I did a Stranger Things set. I
ran across that Stranger Things, like seeing images of it online just recently, and I was like, I'm so annoyed I missed out on that one, because we're just like diehard Stranger Things fans.
Yeah, so that's just one of the cards that I kind of made like a little standee for myself here.
So I know you have a bunch of like original artwork. Is there anything that we can see there in your studio?
Yeah. This is the collection of cards that I've worked on, the sets that I've worked on. But these are the ones I got off of eBay. And the type of sets that they do now are theme sets. So it's all Battle of the Bands or 80s, 1980s, themes, Armageddon, Late to School, things like that. So that's kind of fun, because you can get horror. Did a whole entire horror set. Did 2 different horror sets. I can show you around some of the Garbage Pail Kids I have.
Yeah.
The original Adam Baum. Right. My Valentine's online set that came out a couple years back. Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, that one's so cool. See, I love stuff like that where it just, I don't know, it's like a parody, but then it takes it a level further even. We
get to do weird, funny things where we can bring back original characters and put them like in double situations. These were
Is that one? Was that one right there made into a card?
Yep. This was I think it was like just subsets where they wanted to put two characters together, and
I don't know. That's what I love about these kind of more recent ones. Is they're almost parodies of themselves. They start to. It's like Garbage Pail Kids, not just referencing other culture stuff, but they're starting to reference themselves.
It's nuts, and we're like, I mean, I enjoy doing these classic characters, and this was the first painting I did for Topps. Split Kit, he was an original character from the 80s. And so here he is. Where is he now? 30 years later, 35 years later, he's basically half of them behind bars and half of them is.
So this one would have come out in, like in a 2009 set or something?
Yeah, fall 2000. Or I know I was painting in 2009. The set must have come out like January or February of 2010. There's some lunchboxes. These came out a while ago. Classic character, tin lunchboxes. Did this side art, kind of like the old back cards that they used to do.
Yeah.
Here's an atom bomb that never made it into a card, but was one of my, just pieces to show off to Topps. Like, yeah, I can do Garbage Pail Kids, so I called him Atom Bum.
That's so awesome. That never made it?
No, it was just I did it to kind of like showcase, what I could do.
Right.
It's airbrush background. I use airbrush for all my backgrounds.
Love that.
And then acrylic painting on the characters.
Cool.
Yeah, that's just a basic, just a made-up character there. Here's another one that was from a classic, two classic characters, Dead Ted and Mad Max together. So the gag is Mad Max in the original card in the 80s is just holding his brain. The zombie kid also from the 80s on his own, just mashed them together. This one was for the cereal box that came out from FYE. Airbrush background.
I have a box of that cereal right here.
Oh, nice. Yes. The cereal thing was like one of my favorite, jobs to take because I'm just a cereal guy. So this is the Monopoly painting. So
was what you just pulled out, was that like the sketch for this Monopoly one?
It is the sketch, but it's the it's a printout. So what I do is I will scan that pencil sketch into the computer, blow it up to the size I want to paint it at, and then print out pieces of it from the printer in my own home printer and kind of like just tape them together.
And when you're painting, so you do some airbrush.
They all get airbrush backgrounds and then acrylic paint. So sometimes my ideas for Garbage Pail Kids come from either old paintings that I've just done that weren't Garbage Pail Kid, or I don't know, they come from anywhere, movies or music.
Thanks for doing this. This was awesome. I mean, like for me to get to talk to one of the actual artists of Garbage Pail Kids is like mind blowing.
I appreciate that. No, man, I'm honored for I never consider myself a Garbage Pail. I mean, I do the Garbage Pail Kids, but it's those original guys that I'm following. So it's just a blast to do it. But I'm excited to be a part of this, and that you're a fan too. So
yeah, it'll be fun.
Talk to you later, man.
All right. See ya.